Going down the highway, mile after mile. Life on the road, it's a whole different style. Stories from the blacktop, tales to be told from the way.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of Trucker Overhaul. And today what we talking about? We talking about defensive driving. Every truck driver that heard that terminology before. We familiar with it. We know exactly what that means. So, did you know that it's like 90% of road accidents caused by human error? Did you know that? Like, you would think that it's, some mechanical issue, somebody get a tire blowout, something mechanical. But it's 90% of it is human error. I didn't know that. I just did the research on it, and I understand why the insurance companies want to boost the rates up, because if it's not the vehicle causing the accident, why is the insurance company paying for some human errors, something that could have been preventable? So doing that research and finding this information out, it surprised me, because I would have thought it was something completely different than human error. I know they got some people out there that just don't care about how they drive, but anyway, we talking about defensive driving today. We talking about some key principles of defensive driving. So let's get right into it, and we're gonna jump into this. And the first one we're gonna talk about is awareness. So the key thing is to be aware of your surroundings. Know when vehicles are pulling on side of you, when they're coming around you, like what's coming behind you, what's in front of you. Like, you have to be aware of your surroundings. So what truck drivers do, we are trained, like they push this in us, so much to where it programs you. So we constantly checking the mirrors. We constantly, looking ahead, looking, from mirror to mirror, side to side. And they do it for a reason. They do it for one, so we don't get tired. We keep our eyes moving, so our head constantly moving, so we're not getting tired. So I know, if you didn't get your rest the night before, then of course you're going to get tired. But your awareness is what can help prevent causing an accident or you running off the road. So especially like some drivers riding down the road eating a burger the size of the steering wheel. I mean, the burger's so big they could, like, they had to close their eyes to eat the burger. So something like that could be avoided. Texting while driving. I know some places got like text rest areas. Like, when I first seen that, I was like, what the world? They got a text rest area. And it's probably like every 5 to 10 miles. And then you pull off into this rest area, and then you could respond to text or make your phone calls or text messages or whatever. So awareness, people, like, watch the road. Stop worrying about what's going on your phone. Put that burger down and focus on the road. We got to get these accidents down. We got to stop them from saying that, hey, 90% of road accidents are caused by human error. We got to stop that. So the next thing is you got anticipation. Like, you got to expect the driver in the opposite lane to get over. You got to be looking for that. So truck drivers are trained to look at the front tire of a vehicle that's in front of us. So when that front tire start getting close to the dotted line or solid line or whatever, we know they coming over. Even if they don't put their signal on, we know what to expect. So there's no reason why a truck driver should be rear-ending a vehicle. Except for we got some drivers out here that's brand new that haven't been trained right. You know, when I first started driving, like it was like I guess you could say it was like almost like drill sergeants that was training us because they know what could happen out on the road. They know that, okay, if you mess up on the road, you got an 80,000-pound vehicle and that could destroy something. So they was constantly in your head. You know, I'd heard stories where some of the trainers was like cursing some of the people they was training out, and I'm like, okay, this guy is not fit to be a trainer. Like, he's, you know, he got some anger management problems. Like we got to take him from being a trainer and put him back in training so he could learn some people skills. He could learn how to relax. So in order to be a trainer, you have to be calm. You have to know how to talk to people. You just can't, you say, okay, well, we grown. I'm going to talk to you, you know, like a grown up. Like, you still have to be considerate of people's feelings, because that by itself, like, you in the truck with this other driver for at least 3 weeks. And you sitting there yelling at this new driver that never drove a truck before, but you're supposed to be the trainer. And now it's a whole argument, and it's just crazy to me that some of these trucking companies allow these guys to be trainers. Like, forget the years. Like, how are they training these guys? Like, are they showing them how to back up? Are they being patient with them? Like, that goes into being a trainer. So you anticipate what somebody else gonna do. Like anticipate it, because they're not gonna put their signal on. They just gonna get over. All right. So the next one is safe following distance. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but if you're driving on ice or snow, it's pouring down, raining, whatever the situation may be, high winds, you know, we have to think about keeping enough space between us so we'll be able to stop that vehicle. Trucks operate on air. I know a lot of four-wheelers out there thinking that, okay, the truck can stop on a dime, and that's so far from the truth. So it takes time for that air to get to those brake chambers to start to even apply the brakes. So there's a lot of stuff that truckers deal with out here on the road that a lot of people just don't know. So that's what this podcast is set up for, to talk about and try to inform the general public that trucking is like, you got to be careful around trucks. I ain't saying you got to be nervous and tense up behind the steering wheel, but you have to be careful when you're around a truck. You have to know how that truck operates. You have to know that that truck cannot stop on a dime, and it could cause damage. So the seriousness of these trucks is, it's a matter of really life and death. So even with me, I've been driving for 18 years, and driving at night, especially like after a snowstorm, and it's, you know, it's clear, it's not snowing, and for the most part, the road is dry. Then all of a sudden you hit an ice patch, and then you're going down a hill. So to feel that truck start moving out of your control, and to see that cliff or a curve in the road that you headed towards, like it's insane. But you still have to remain calm, because panicking is not going to do anything. It's not going to slow the vehicle down any more than what it's doing. So you still have to keep your composure and try to stay calm, because being calm, that allows your mind to process what's actually going on, some procedures that you can do to slow the vehicle down. So as I'm going down the hill, I'm thinking, okay, man, like, where did this ice come from? Like, it was no alertness, nobody on the CB radio saying, hey, they got, trucks that ran off the road, nothing. I'm just on a dark road on I-80, going down a hill, and all of a sudden I hit an ice patch. The back of my truck, I could feel my drive starting to swing a little to the left, so I know I'm on ice. So immediately I take my feet off the gas pedal and kind of tap on the brake and try to use the trailer brakes and start pumping the trailer brakes to try to get it to at least slow down, because I'm going towards this guardrail, and right up past that, it's a cliff. Well, it's not a cliff, it's a curve where, it's a meteorite there. So luckily I was able to get the truck to slow down by doing this technique, pumping the brakes, using a trailer handle to operate the trailer brakes to try to keep the trailer behind me, for one, and to try to kind of stir without like overstirring, because I've seen drivers at the same spot jackknife. So once I got down to the bottom and was able to come to a complete stop, like, I'm seeing trucks coming down the hill jackknifing because they panicking. You're already speeding, and then you panic, and then you add ice to it, and then guess what? Once the truck jackknife is out of your control, you going wherever the truck want to go from that point. So you have to think about this and realize that, hey, keeping a safe following distance, just in case you do hit something or something, they got a lot of road construction going on now. So you definitely need to increase your following distance, because they got some people out here that's literally trying to cause you to hit them. Like, they literally out there trying to get you. They jumping in front of trucks, and then they hitting brakes, or they slowing down, especially, being on ice. Like, it's just too dangerous, and like people not having a consideration for truck drivers. So we as truck drivers are always trained on defensive driving. So I mean, that's the best way to go with it. But we're gonna get into speed management. I get it. Sometimes you're running late, and at 65 miles an hour speed sign feels just more like a suggestion. Like, okay, I know I need to hurry up and get down this road, and I really don't got time to be, slow dragging it. Maybe I ran into road construction, I hit a traffic jam, and I'm getting close to maybe I got to stop and get diesel now. Like, I hit a traffic jam, ran into road construction, I got to stop and get diesel, before I even get, and not only that, like unexpected things happen, like you got to go to the restroom. Like now you really trying to get down the road. Like your truck already governed to a certain speed, so that adds even more stress to it, and you really like fighting to get to your destination, the ship or receiver, so you could pick that load up or you could drop the load off. Because if all the truckers know, if you late to some of these places, they will tell you, especially like Walmart, Amazon, they will tell you to get your dispatcher to contact them to set another appointment. So no telling how long, if the dispatcher even do it, because some dispatchers like, okay, look, we just gonna give you another load because they want you to wait 5 days out, and we don't want our truck sitting that long. So even if it's not a fault of your own, like it could have had a major accident on the road, and some of these warehouses still will not take you in. Like it's out. I mean, it's completely out of your hand. But hey, I can't stop accidents from happening. Like somebody that ran into somebody. Maybe it was a major a truck rolled over or something, and it's hauling hazardous material, and they shut down the whole interstate so the cleanup crew could get on there, and sometimes it takes 10 hours. Sometimes it takes 10 hours for them to get on there, clean everything up before the road even start, moving again, before the drivers start moving again. So some drivers are actually out there on a 10-hour break. Like it's insane. Like some of this stuff really doesn't have to be, and it all comes down to you watching your speed, having a safe following distance, anticipating what somebody else gonna do, and being aware. So I'm gonna give you some techniques for defensive driving. So the first thing is avoid distractions. Distracted driving isn't just texting. It's also digging around for snacks, checking the GPS. Let's be honest, trying to find a perfect song for the vibe. Like strolling through the radio trying to find a song that could keep you up, keep you rolling. It's a distraction. It really is. So some distractions, especially like trying to find a song on the radio, like like who rides in silence? Like people don't ride in silence. They gotta hear some theme song while they're riding down the road. They just can't ride in silence, because that's, especially if they're going 10, 11 hours a day. Like if they're not on the phone, like I don't know how you could do that. Check your blind spots. They got people, especially around summertime, springtime. They got a lot of people going on vacation. It's frustrating, but that's why we check twice. You don't want to play the game of bumper cars with someone who think they're invisible. Like you just don't want to do that. You got RVs rolling down the road. You got four-wheelers rolling down the road. It's almost like, okay, you got to put yourself in that person's position and say, okay, well, maybe I had to look at it like that's my family rolling down the road. So I want to make sure they get past safely, because that's still somebody's family. So you want to check your blind spots as much as possible. Sometimes what we're trained to do as truck drivers, we're dealing with blind spots. slow down or speed up to get that vehicle off your, if there's a vehicle in your blind spot. You slow down or speed up. And I know they got some people out here that if you speed up, they gonna speed up. So they do anything to keep you from getting in front of them. So using signals, well, yeah, right. Like that's gonna help. Like I know we are told to use turn signals to communicate that we're trying to get over, but you know how hard that is for a truck driver to get over when they're using a turn signal? It's like damn near impossible. Like you turn your turn signal on and they got a vehicle that's approaching you, they gonna speed up. They gonna make sure they get on side of you. If you got somebody that you know that's considerate, that know about trucks, they'll go ahead and pass you. But once you turn that turn signal on that 18-wheeler, it's difficult. Like all my truck drivers out there know this. It's difficult. You know, if you ain't got another trucker coming up, even some truck drivers don't even let you get over. And we driving the same vehicle. They'll pull on side of you and just sit there. And I'm like, okay, where is the training? You know, they tell you, well, turn signals are like promises. If you make one, follow through. And yes, even when there's no one around, you might think you're alone. But that one car you didn't see will pop out of nowhere. Like it's part of a prank show. Like 1 minute you riding and you got your turn signal on and you like, okay, let me go ahead and get over. And all of a sudden this car just come out of nowhere. Like, where did this car just come from? Like the truck driver sitting in his driver's seat, like wondering where did this car come from? Because there wasn't nobody right there. So, yeah, when necessary. Look, some people drive like they're auditioning for NASCAR team. Let them pass. You got nothing to prove. Except that your cargo and your paycheck make it home in one piece. That's the only thing you got to prove. So, if somebody want to come around you, let them come around you. It's not going to get you there no faster trying to, be a NASCAR driver with them. Remember, you're in a bigger vehicle than them. You got 80,000 pounds and you can't brake like they brake. They could stop just like that. It literally take us like 2 to 3 football fields to come to a complete stop. And that's what? That's rated at what? I think it's like 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour. But yeah, the car could stop like right on a dime. So hopefully they find a way, which I doubt it, find a way to help truck drivers, get better braking systems. So, but there is some benefits to defensive driving. You help improve safety. What company you know that wouldn't mind you helping them improve safety? Like, there is no company out there that wouldn't mind you saying, okay, look, let me use some defensive driving. Let me stay safe out here and get my freight to its destination. And don't worry about, other drivers, but still pay attention to how people are driving out here. So, cost savings. An accident can cost you a fortune, But defensive driving saves you cash. Let's face it, if you anything like me, you rather spend that money on a good meal than an insurance deductible. And some of these insurance deductibles is like $1,000. The minimum I seen is like $500, and that depends on, how good a driver you are, and they check your credit score, and they want to make sure like you got to be a certain person to get this $500 deductible. Other than that, it's like $1,000 deductible. So you got legal protection. Driving defensively means you always the professional. So if something does go wrong, you can say, hey, I did everything right. And trust me, that looks a lot better on a report than, oh, I thought I could squeeze through. You know that when you tell a state trooper that, how they look at you, you thought you could squeeze through. Now, you got this is a 18-wheeler, what, 63 feet? And you thought you could squeeze through. We have no time to think about squeezing through anything. We had to know that we're able to get over. So common challenges and how to overcome them. Dealing with aggressive driving. Aggressive driving, we face that every day. That goes into, people thinking they NASCAR drivers. And, we had to deal with it. All we could do is hope that the state trooper out there catch them when they do this NASCAR driving on the interstate. We all seen the guy riding your bumper like he's drafting in a race. I think that was last night. I had another truck that I'm driving, and he jumps in front of me, and I'm like, okay, look, let me go ahead and try to come around him. And I'm not thinking nothing about it. I'm thinking like, okay, he got over to get around his truck. Let me go ahead and jump in the other lane. But he started to speed up. So he started speeding up. So I'm like, okay, this don't make no sense. Like, you in an 18-wheeler, I'm in an 18-wheeler. We both go in the same direction. And like, the guy was like, I don't know what his problem was, but I got back behind him and he slowed down again. So I'm like, oh Lord, like you get these kind of drivers out here. So if you're a new driver and you coming out here, or you thinking about coming into the truck industry, you're gonna deal with these kind of drivers out here that like to play games. They like to play childish games and big vehicles. That's what they like to do. So, I didn't really engage him. I knew what he was doing. So I'm like, okay, I'm looking at my GP. I'm like, okay, I only got this amount of miles to go. So if I could keep my distance from him, then, let me go ahead and do that instead of trying to play this game with him. So I'm like, okay, let me slow down. But he started slowing down even more. So I'm like, why is this dude, it's some of these truck drivers, you just got to call the companies on them and try to reach the safety department and report them. Some of these guys that do this are owner operators, so they own their own trucks. So the only thing you could possibly do is call a state trooper out and let them know that, they got reckless driver out here, and he's trying to cause me to run into the back of him. Let them know that, if you're a truck driver, let them know that you're a truck driver. Because most state troopers, they know that, okay, if this is a truck and another truck driver doing that, then okay, we need to find out exactly what's going on with this truck driver, because we don't need two trucks to collide on our interstates, because it slow down the flow of traffic. So moving on, driving in bad weather, rain, snow, fog. Like that's Mother Nature way of keeping us humble. When it starts raining, when it's snow, and when it's fog, it makes you slow down. It makes you slow that vehicle down. So that's one of them things you're not gonna beat. I don't care how hard you try, you're not gonna beat Mother Nature, and you just have to slow down. Make sure your lights on so you're visible to anybody that's, if you're on the 2-lane road that's coming towards you, or a vehicle that's approaching you from behind. You want to make sure that you could do everything you possibly can to make sure that people can see you. And the one that most truck drivers deal with now is managing fatigue. This is I believe it's like the top of the food chain of what cause accidents. A driver fell asleep behind the wheel. So I can't express how much and how important it is to get your rest. Being sick, that's a sign of fatigue. So if you feel sick, tired or whatever, I don't care what's going on with the load. If you feeling tired, contact the company, let them know, hey, even 4-wheeler, get into some of these rest areas and get you, at least a power nap in. That's like 2 hours of sleep, before you start back driving. You'll be surprised what 2 hours can do. But, as much as drivers try to stay awake on the road, we deal with extremely long hauls. Even the local drivers deal with, at least 500 miles a day, 600 miles a day. And that's an average. That's average mileage for truck drivers. 500-600 miles a day. That's average. So if you're not getting your rest, then you like a drunk driver. You falling asleep behind the wheel. Even though you might, blink your eyes a couple of times and, try to get back focused, you still like the sleep gonna win. It's just a matter of you being that professional driver, good driver for 4-wheelers, and realizing like, hey, I need to pull over and get some rest. Like the load is better getting there with the load intact than to have a state trooper call the company and tell them that, hey, one of your drivers just rolled the truck. We need to get somebody out here to clean this freight up outside of the road, and you got to pay for it. So the state troopers don't pay for that. The company have to pay for that. And guess what happens when that happens? You lose your job. And the next driving company that you try to get on with, they're going to see that you rolled a truck and they're going to be kind of skeptical on hiring you, because now you became a risk. And you know, everybody know risk management is the top thing in business. You want to avoid all risks as much as possible. So, time for me to wrap everything up, and I appreciate everybody that came and joined the Trucker Overhaul. And you know, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about on this podcast, and hopefully we'll be able to get some other drivers on the show that could talk about their experience as truck drivers. What are some of the things that help them decide to become a truck driver, and some good and bad experience of trucking, what they feel could change about trucking, and what kind of advice they could give new truck drivers out there. So, in conclusion, defensive driving is like being the hero of your own action movie. But instead of explosions, you're dodging bad decisions and bad weather. The next time you hit the road, commit to driving smart and safe. Remember, it's not just about getting there. It's about getting there alive, with all your freight intact, and maybe even with a good story to tell. So stay sharp, stay safe, and let's keep those wheels turning and the road drama free. Until then, catch y'all again on Trucker Overhaul Podcast.
Join the convoy, hear that engine sound.